Welcome, everyone, to the L7C podcast, UFC edition. Today, we have a very, very special episode for you guys. For the first time ever in the L7C's history, we have the UFC expert, Chuck Marlowe, and the wrestling expert, Jacob Mason, on a podcast together. We're going to be talking about UFC 300. What's going on, guys? This is big. First time we had the UFC expert, WWE expert on a pod. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Great to be here. Glad we have Jacob with us, ready to just get this going.
Yeah, I'm excited. We wanted to do this for years now, and it just worked out perfectly for UFC 300. Well, hell yeah. It's going to be a good fucking podcast.
And for the people who may just listen to the UFC one, they don't know that the wrestling expert, Jacob, is a huge, like the WWE ones. They don't know, Jacob, you're a huge UFC fan.
Oh, I love me some UFC. Love me some MMA, period, man.
Like, it's cool. We finally got this able to be. So I'm just going to be in the back and just hear you guys really just talk about this stuff. And Chuck, I know you wanted to highlight some previous stuff before we get to 300.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of different fights. We had spent 296 was the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot between then. You had 297, 298, and 299, which is almost as stacked pretty much as 300. So yeah, I just wanted to hit on some of those things and see, like, you had Bryce Mitchell and Josh Emmett, and oh my gosh, that fight, it was a quick fight, but if you ever saw the highlight reel of that on Twitter, he put him to sleep, and that man was seizing.
Awesome. Well, let's just start backwards then, Chuck. Let's work our way. Let's talk about some of those big fights you wanted to highlight about 296, 97, 98, 99. And then let's get right into 300. So lead the way, man.
Yeah, so started it off with Mitchell and Emmett, and then they went into the second fight on the main card, which was Paddy Pimblett and Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson, who's at this point in his career, I think is kind of he's getting there. I think the next fight probably would be like retirement, and then he'll be completely done with the UFC, because I don't see them retaining him anymore with the way he's been fighting lately.
Jacob, what are some of your thoughts about what Chuck said and just 296 in general? Chuck, what was the main event of 296?
Main event was Leon versus Colby. So that was the one where you had Colby pretty much just looking completely lost. The 2-year layovers, I think, with all these UFC fighters, like, it's just not it. Most of these fighters, when they take this time off, they just lose that mindset and that hunger and discipline and training. If you're not constantly disciplined and training, then you lose that edge. And you can just tell he does not have that edge anymore, because he was a constant, relentless pressure pusher. He was always on the tank, and you could just tell he was not it. Leon was constantly in the gym. Leon wanted this just because all the personalness and the way that Colby can be and just push your buttons. And Leon just went out and dominated for 5 rounds straight.
Jacob, thoughts on 296?
Yeah, I think a lot of people were sleeping on Justin Emmett before going into this fight. That dude has knockout power. I don't care who he's fighting. I mean, he was the underdog in that fight. And I remember talking to a couple guys at work about it beforehand. I was like, dude, like, I don't know how you're putting Emmett as an underdog. I would have had to pick him, if anything, for that fight. Paddy Pimblett, dude's still doing his thing. A lot of people hate him. Still, whatever. I think he's a fun fighter. Leon Edwards didn't take Kobe's shit, dished it right back out. Good as ever. And of course, Shavkat Rakhmonov, absolutely future champion.
Without a doubt.
He is so scary. That dude is fucking scary.
I don't really know who in that welterweight division can stop him right now, honestly.
I know Hamzat keeps bouncing around between different weight classes, but man, I'd love to watch Shavkat versus Hamzat.
That would be a very good wrestling match for people who don't really know too much about wrestling.
And of course, my local guy Cody Garbrandt won.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to bring him up.
Yeah, Cody Garbrandt won. Which when I listened to the last UFC podcast, so this proves I actually do listen to other people's podcasts. Chuck said this is going to be like a tune-up fight for Cody, and he was completely right. Cody came out, and this looked like old Cody, which is what he needs to be. Let him do his thing.
I need him to get a belt again. I need him. That he's in the loaded bantamweight division, obviously. The thing is, though, when he was champ, he was young, so he's still not very old of a fighter when you think about it.
He's younger than us.
He still has a lot of time left.
For sure. And it's weird though. I mean, like when a lot of people talk about Cody, you have to realize the whole dude has been brought up just for one fight, and it was just against Dominic Cruz. And he smoke showed Dominic Cruz. And then it is kind of like, oh, what do I do now? But like you said, dude's so young. He has so many years to go. Cody's going to be just fine.
Anything else on 296?
I think that's really it for 296. I mean, you could hit on Pantoja, Royval. Really, that's the only like test that we've seen really for Pantoja, where he's kind of like, I don't know. I think I just want to see him against a very good cardio fighter, because Royval really didn't have the tank, just like Pantoja doesn't have a tank. But I can just tell later in those rounds he gets pretty gassed. So I want to see how he does in his next fight when he gets to those fourth and fifth rounds, if he has someone with a better tank than him.
Fair enough. All right, let's go to 297. Chuck, let's start off with you. What are some things you like from 297?
297, it's not like a fan favorite because it's not a lot of big names on there. There's some good fights, especially with Arnold Allen and Chris Curtis, who both had somewhat decent performances, except for Arnold Allen because he just got it put on him. But Chris Curtis, he has a main card coming up this Saturday. When the podcast release, it'll probably already be over by now. But I think him training with Sean Strickland's really helped up his game and showcased his boxing a lot better. Raquel Pennington and Mayra Bueno Silva. That was a great fight for Raquel Pennington. Mayra I don't know. She just didn't look like she had it in her. She just it didn't look like she wanted it as much as Raquel wanted it. And that just goes to prove that Raquel was on the level that she needed to be that night. It was the best performance of her life. She put everything together great with her wrestling, her submissions, her grappling, her boxing. She put it all together very well, and she just dominated that whole fight. It made Mayra look kind of silly, honestly.
Jacob, anything for you about 297?
All right, Chuck, this is a question for you. Who do you think won, Strickland or Duplessis?
So I have a very biased opinion, and I will always say it was Sean. But if you look at the numbers and if you really look at the fight without a biased standpoint, Driscus won just from the fact that his punches appeared to have more damage. Strickland appeared to also have more damage, and just he had the 6 takedowns. When you go into a fight, I know it was only 2 minutes and like 8 seconds, I think it was, of control time he had on the ground. It's not a lot, but that makes a difference, especially when you have 0 takedowns as the other fighter. So I think that really helped him get that extra little edge. Plus, he was mixing it up other than hitting just towards the face. He was throwing out some leg kicks, and he had a little bit different variation as where Sean was just doing mostly boxing.
Yeah, he was throwing some heavy, really good-looking leg kick. Sean's leg was tore up during that.
Yeah, I think that kind of affected his pressure a little bit. I mean, I think he still pushed forward because, I mean, Sean's going to always push forward regardless of injury. But I think it really kind of just really staggered him a little bit. where he couldn't set the pace like he wanted to. It disrupted his flow and his rhythm.
Yeah, for sure.
Will they get a rematch then?
I think they should. I think they should.
They should, but you have Izzy already going up against Driscus. They announced they're working on that right now for like 304, 305 in Australia. So I don't really know if that's going to pan out anytime soon because say Adesanya wins and you're going to get Strickland versus Adesanya probably again, or you're going to get a Driscus versus Adesanya rematch, which I don't really know which one makes more sense. I feel like you maybe eventually just put Driscus versus Sean, whichever one wins, then they move on to fight for the belt. That's probably what most likely will happen if he wins the belt anyway.
Jacob?
Yeah, I agree with Chuck there on that one.
So, like, if someone was looking at this right now, it says Sean Strickland. He's the champion, correct?
Driscus is the champion now.
Yeah, he's the champion now. Yeah, because he won by split decision. Yeah, they should move that C over there. But that's what besides the point. Anything else on 297?
Yeah, that's really it. 297. I mean, like I said, there was some sleeper fights on there. People making their debuts. A lot of older fighters somewhat just trying to stay alive in the UFC. But for the main part, it was the Raquel and the Driscus and Sean that really drew it all in.
All right, let's get to 298. This time I'll start with Jacob. Jacob, what was something you liked from 298?
Liked or was completely like depressed, sad about was watching Alexander Volkanovski get knocked out. that shit hurt. I love Volkanovski, and seeing him get pieced up there is multiple times in a row now is just so goddamn sad. that killed me. I was so hyped when he came out when he comes out to Down Under. 5-minute workout. I just love everything about Volkanovski. Dude's just a fucking warrior. But goddamn, Ilia Topuria is fucking scary. That is a scary man.
That man has knockout power for the featherweight division like I haven't ever seen before. I mean, when he touches people, he touches people and he puts them down. He's no joke. I think he is one of the hardest hitters I've seen in that featherweight division, and I think he's going to continue to make a run right there at the top. So we'll see how long he's going to stay up there.
Any other things on this card?
Man, shout out to Junior Tafa taking his heavyweight fight on what, a 1 day, 2 day notice?
Yeah, swapping out for his brother.
Yeah, fucking. I know he lost, but I don't care, man. I fucking love the Tafa brothers.
I'm getting kind of tired of Justin Tafa and his half-assed effort, and just I don't know if you saw his last fight, but he's just sitting there taking punches straight to the head. I'm just like, you're like it. He obviously didn't look super phased by it, but this is not going to help you in your case. He's just on all fours with someone on your back, just punching your face in, and you're not even defending the punches. Plus, he had Taco Bell in the locker room, like as he was coming out of the locker room. Like you're eating Taco Bell before your fight, like that's the best that you're gonna like get ready for. And you can just tell he's gassed out. His training, he needs to work on his training. He was training in like Planet Fitness at one point. Like get a gym, go train somewhere, and like
maybe he's trying to save money, Chuck.
I mean, I get it. Most the UFC fighters aren't paid enough to really afford to do everything they want to do, but I mean, he's kind of popular enough where he can maybe get an endorsement or two and maybe get some type of gym endorsement or something.
Renya Nakamura, that dude's going to be a threat here in the next year or two.
Shinsuke's brother?
Might as
well be.
Yeah, dude. That's another dude. I think everyone just needs to keep an eye on him. That dude's always fun to watch.
If you look at his line, minus 1350.
That's absurd.
That's how much confidence they had in him going in and just whooping this dude's ass. Like,
and it went to a decision too, which kind of blew me.
Yeah. Like you expect for a minus 1350 for it to be like smoking them in like the first round.
Yeah, but I like him. He's definitely going to be dangerous in the future.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. The pay-per-view before 300 to 99.
What a fucking good card this shit was.
It was a great card.
Mr. O'Malley. Vera
from the prelims to the main event, it was just loaded.
I mean, you had O'Malley and Dustin back to back. Like that's.
I mean, even if you look in the early prelims, they had amazing fights.
Yeah, started the early prelims because literally even the early prelims were. I was out getting. I was out at a Mexican restaurant with my wife, and I was drinking margs, and I had this shit on the table watching the early prelims.
And like they had some like really good fights. You had some battles that were going to decision. You had some great performances. Like you had Robles the Spain, the 6'8" guy from Cuba, 18-second knockout. Man's last 4 knockouts.
6'8".
Last 4 knockouts have all been under like 18 seconds. Like, dude touches people and they just sleep. I mean, I can't wait to see what he does. I know John Jones will definitely be out of the UFC by the time he makes his run towards the top, but man, that would have been interesting to see if he can just put him out with one hit.
Michael Pereira, dude, that was a nasty choke he had to win.
That choke was deep. I mean,
that shit was wild.
The way I see him fighting always, I thought it was going to go to knockout. I put a bet in, I think, last second for like first round knockout. And he was putting it on him at first and he was getting him. And that's how he got him down and got him into the choke. And as soon as I saw him put the choke in and I saw how deep it is, I was like, there goes my money. Gone.
I think from a betting thing for me from this card, I mean, as soon as I took Dustin because he was plus.
You saw my bet slip, Martin. I had him second round knockout.
Yeah, you're doing plus money because I mean, I do like
plus 1,700 odds. It was Dustin. I'm just telling you, he's one of these people. Like he has a tank on him. I don't know what it is. He gets into those moments where people are just gassed out. He's gassed. Benoit's gassed from trying to grapple and wrestle the whole time. Like it just really shows. He shows up in those moments. I think people get sloppy, don't have great methods, and they don't stay disciplined towards their fighting. And he just knows where people are going to slip up in those moments, and he slides in those punches so well with his boxing. It's amazing.
Well, let's something else, man. I had Saint Denis in my parlay. Luckily, I cashed out before that fight because I was up a lot. I was like, "Fuck it, I'm cashing out. I'm happy." But goddamn, dude, the dude had a staph infection a week before the fight.
He did, and they showed the picture of it.
That shit needs to be disclosed.
That is true. Yes, yeah. It does. It does.
Because, man, if I didn't cash out, I would have been pissed.
Because, like, if you're losing money on the fighter who's not disclosing injuries, you have really a situation. If you have staph infection, you need to make sure it's also handled because you're going to get that shit around to other people in the ring. So you got to think about it. You're going around sweating. You're sweating on Dustin, number one. You're going to get him probably staph. Then you have the rest of your sweat in the octagon where people are rolling around on sweating as well, where you'll get O'Malley and Cheeto to both end up getting staph as well. So, like, you got to also think about that from just a hygiene standpoint and all type of grappling sports. That's why we clean mats. That's why we sit there and go through all the sanitization that we go through so people don't actually get sick, get ringworm, different things like that. So from a fighter standpoint, it's kind of fucked up not disclose that.
Yeah, because right afterwards, that's why he showed all the pictures and stuff. And it's like, are you fucking serious?
It's like you're just using that as a cop-out excuse to ask why you lost.
I think people get really mad about that too, because right now in the world, especially in the United States, you can't play around when there's money on the table now. With sports betting being as big as it is, and everyone is really into it. Like Jacob said, like not disclosing an injury. I get it. You don't want to give your competitor an advantage. Like, oh, you're injured there, I'm going to target you there. But all the other sports, you got to have a certain time. You got to put that injury report in. UFC is not like that because it's a combat sport and all that. But just like Chuck said too, but then when someone loses, they're like, well, You didn't know that I had a staph infection. I was like, well, why didn't you tell us this before then? You just made someone lose $5 million.
Yeah. Michael Venom Page made Kevin Holland look like he wasn't even in the UFC.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I had very different feeling for that fight going into it. I thought Kevin Holland was going to be like, all right, let me show this old ass dude what I can do and like just put it on him. And I mean, I thought Michael Venom Page wasn't going to do terrible, but I feel like, all right, like I think Kevin Holland's on the next level. I've seen Michael Venom Page. I've seen the things he's done. I've seen him crack guys' skull literally from just kneeing them in the head. I've seen his highlight showcase. Seen everything, but I didn't think that he was going to be able to really do it at this level once he transferred over to the UFC. I thought he was a real deal, but I just didn't think he was the real deal like this. And he just made Kevin Holland look like he just made him. You saw the frustration on Kevin Holland's face. He's complaining to the ref. He's complaining to everybody in the fans because he just wants him to stand in front of him and just fight. And like that's not what Michael Venom Page is. He's going to make you look stupid swinging at him, and he's going to lunge in and he's going to hit you in your head. And you're like, how the fuck did he hit me from this range? How is someone this short reaching in on? I think I can't remember the height comparison, but I think Michael Venom Page is like maybe like 6 foot, and Kevin Holland's like 6'4", and has the significant reach advantage. And he's making Kevin Holland lunge forward and almost fall on his face from swinging at him, and just dipping out of everything with ease.
Yeah, that was you would have never guessed Holland had the reach advantage if you just watching the fight. It so
was
ridiculous.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Anything else on 299?
Sean O'Malley looked great as always.
Made Christian Bale look pretty bad. I don't know what Cheeto can. That's not the performance I think anyone expected from him. I mean, he did it against Corey Sandhagen, kinda, but I just didn't really see it being that bad.
He had one good shot, and it was with what 2 seconds left in the 5th round,
and it's just because he's realizing he needs the knockout.
I mean, that was a hell of a body shot, but I mean, like he was just pieced up all 5 rounds.
And at that point, Sean O'Malley's not really hurt. You haven't hurt him for all 5 rounds, so that's the first big hit you're laying on. So it's really not going to do too much for him because he can take a few of those.
True. All right, let's get to UFC 300. What we're previewing. This is going to be going down Saturday, April 13th at 10 p.m. The usual UFC time. Again, the 300th UFC type event of this nature. Jacob, I know you've been watching this stuff for a while. Chuck, I know you've been watching this stuff for a while. When you hear UFC 300, what does that mean to you?
It's another 100. I mean, when you get to WrestleMania 50, that's when you get to that 50th anniversary. Like it's UFC 300 is that 300 anniversary of just UFC main events. It's supposed to be the granddaddy of them all. It's the Super Bowl almost in a way. That's how it compared. So once in like every 5-10 years. I can't really think about the numbers. I can't really think about how many events they really put out per year, but it's one of those the granddaddy of them all situation.
Jacob.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching UFC 200 and watching all the craziness, like the build up to it of being McGregor's in, McGregor's out, Jones is in, Jones is out. All right, fuck it, Brock's in. I remember all that, and just I was so excited for this card. Like I'm on vacation next week, and I even looked up possibly getting tickets and going out to Vegas and watching it, but I refused to pay.
Yeah, the astronomical numbers.
Those are all right. So like you're looking between like $600 and $800 for the top of the top of the top nosebleed.
Yeah. If
you want like an OKC, not even a good seat, an OKC, you're looking at like $2,000 a ticket, and I'm like, dude, there's no way.
Yeah, there's
Like-
it's not. They're not looking for the average working man like us. They're
don't get me started on that. Do
they're looking
not
for
get
the
me
top
started
dollar.
on that.
They're
like,
looking for the top dollar fan.
yeah, and I even looked at like the shows they do on the Apex, and value wise, the Apex fights you can get like VIP tickets for like 1,500, and be sitting like front row or first like 2 rows.
That's honestly probably like a really good bang for your buck. The only thing that sucked is most of the time they've never done main events in the Apex unless it was during COVID. They didn't really have anybody in there. But that was probably one of the best fight. That was the best time for fighting.
Man, and Jacob, you brought up UFC 200. Just I remember watching it too, but just re-looking at this card back in the day with like these big names like Nunes, Tate, Lesnar, Hunt, Cormier, Anderson Silva. Also, was supposed to be John Jones. Blah blah. Then you had Jose Aldo, Frank Yeager, Cain Velasquez, Travis Brown. I even forgot he even fought. Um, like Kat Zingano in the prelim, Julia Pena on the prelim, like TJ.
You had Nunes who ended up being a champion. Like
right here on my submission.
Numerous champions on this card.
Like this was
DC double champ.
And then
Anderson Silva. Jim Miller's on UFC 200, and the thing is, this man is on UFC 300 right now.
Yeah,
This man has been in the UFC for so long. That's another Ohio legend.
Yeah, 100, 200,
right
and
there.
going
Like, this man has been in the UFC for so long, and the run he's had in his career, like, he's a journeyman through and through. When you talk about a journeyman, Jim Miller is him. Another Ohio man. They have 2 Ohio guys. They got Cody and Jim Miller opening this up, like, back to back.
And then I know from a wrestling thing, Jacob, we remember, like all the wrestling fans, we spat our water out seeing that Brock Lesnar was on this card because he was main eventing SummerSlam in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like we were just like, Vince is letting him go to UFC for like what?
Yeah. Mark Hunt's still suing Dana over that card.
I don't think he's going to win, but I was going to say real quickly too, if that, I mean, it's too late now and she's doing some other stuff. Maybe that's going to happen down the line with Shayna going back for a UFC fight.
Might as well. They ain't doing shit with her on WWE.
Yeah, that's true. Now,
she did win her fight today at Bloodsport. She did win her fight today, so.
And then I want to ask this question for both of you guys before you guys start like breaking down this fight by like the fights. Is this card for the 300th one? Is it big enough?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, when you really look at it, like if you're looking at the prelims could be a main card. The early prelims could be a main card. The main card could be multiple main events. Like, I think people got a little bit too greedy. I think that what most people want is like a champ versus champ versus champ versus, like, they want a double champ fight at the main event. They want a belt for the second main event. They want another belt and then another belt. They want pretty much everybody just going at it for the belt. And I think that's what people will be like, oh my gosh, it's the biggest event ever. But honestly, this is probably the most perfect way it could be. It's not too much and it's not underneath the bare minimum. It's the perfect card, honestly, for UFC 300. I think people are going to look back and be like, this was a great card. You had young fighters, you had older fighters, you had a lot of fighters at the top of their game fighting on the main card. I think this card is pretty well rounded.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, shoot. I mean, what match do you guys want to talk about first? Real quick. So is Cody going to lose this? Like, is he losing this fight?
I'll put it this way. I will not put him on my parlay, but I will throw a $10 bet down on Cody.
I will definitely be making a Cody Garbrandt knockout by some round. I'm definitely taking that prop, whatever it is. I'm going to see what the line's at, and I'm going to take it for sure. Put $5 on it. and then that's good. But if I put him in a parlay, that's not happening unless I'm making an underdog parlay for a nuke, and I'm just going to hope that he actually pulls it out.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I just want to. And then we just talked about a guy who's been on all of them. What about Jim?
Jim's going against Bobby Green, and Bobby Green right now, he's trying to come off of a loss. He's trying to make redemption, and Bobby Green was fighting at a really, really high level before he went on to that loss. So I don't know. I don't ever want to count people out, but I really think that Bobby Green's going to kind of put it on Jim Miller. I think it's a funky style for Jim Miller to fight against, and I don't really think it's going to match up well for him. So I hope that he wins, but I don't really see it happen.
Yeah, I think the real question is Bruce Buffer going to announce Jim Miller as Jim fucking Miller? That's what I want to know, because that's been in the talks for like 3 months now, and I want to hear Bruce Buffer drop an F-bomb.
Oh, I think for UFC 300, he definitely will. It should happen for all the fans. I think this is, like I said, it's one of those milestone things at UFC 300. It only makes sense to do it.
No, I'm taking Bobby Green. Bobby Green's definitely going on my parlay for this one.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We're parlay building, talking fights. What about the other two matches on the early prelims? What do you guys have here with the ladies and this last one?
I got Andrade personally. I think she takes this.
It's even money.
It is even, but I have so much faith in Jessica because she's been looking at like she's at the top of her game, and I think she takes this.
Yeah, I'm staying away from this fight because Jessica's like screwed me on my last two parlays I've had. I am completely staying away from this. That being said, I do think Andrade does take this fight. I think she wins it.
What about the Turner fight? We don't have odds right now.
Mike Turner. Oh, this is such a toss-up for me because Turner, I feel like he has potential, and Moicano, both are potential fighters. Like they both have great potential, and I just want to see them put it together for once. If one of them shows one of their best performances, I think this is where they both need to showcase both of their best performances. This one I would also leave off my parlay just because I feel like this should be an even line between these two. I really think this is going to be a dog fight. They both are long, lengthy fighters. I mean, Jalen Turner definitely has the reach advantage just because this man's arms are like, he's called the tarantula for a reason, just like Kevin Durant. Dude has length. But I still think Moicano's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is pretty good, and he'll get in there on Jalen Turner and make things a little bit difficult.
Yeah, Jalen Turner's really tall for this division. Certainly has the reach. I think I just saying it at 77-inch reach. I mean that
lightweight.
Yeah, for that reason, if he utilizes his reach advantage, I think he'll do just fine.
And in fights where he has used his reach advantage, he's looked great. He's looked perfect. He's done everything he needs to do. But sometimes he just gets sloppy and he just forgets and he just throws game plan to the side and just loses.
I'm hoping just because it's 300, like everyone knows like how big this is. I'm hoping everyone's on their game.
I would hope so.
I don't want anyone to take any steps off. I want people to like really showcase their best performance. That would really pay great tribute to it, because then if you're not, it's like people are going to go back and be like, man, I remember this fight on that card. That was a sneaker, kind of like.
Right.
Like, you want it to be a fight where all the buildup is so hyped up because everybody's just beating everybody's ass and they're just going at it and competing.
How much did you guys say the tickets were again?
For the top nosebleeds, you're looking about $600 to $800. For okay seats, you're looking at like $2,000. And then, dude, if you're trying to get like down, like on the floor level, you're looking at 10,000 ish.
So with those seats and going off of what both you guys said, I mean, also I would hope that all these people really show out, because this is probably going to be the biggest payday most of them have ever have. Correct?
That is true.
Should be. There should be.
I mean, yeah, it should be. I mean,
Dana should be throwing out win bonuses left and right.
Oh yeah. Performance of the night bonuses left and right for sure.
Like this
Honestly, I
is gonna
really
make some
think
money.
he needs to really run it like ONE FC does, where if you get a knockout or a sub, you get 50,000. Not even
I
a
think,
question.
yeah, just give it to him just regardless. Not like, oh, this is the knockout of the night, so you're going to get it. This was the best knockout I've seen today, so you get it. I think it should be where it is just basically you get a knockout. That's an incentive bonuses. Just throw out incentive bonus.
Oh, I agree. I agree. Then let's go. Those are the early prelims you can watch on UFC Fight Pass at 6 o'clock. Then you go to the other prelims that are ESPN. We'll start at the bottom, work our way up. All right, what we got with the Yusuf and Diego fight?
This one, again, it's one of those toss ups. Sadiq Yusuf has been kind of not as active for the past like 2 years. I mean, he's been fighting still. He's been putting on some fights, but it just hasn't been as active as he was before. I think I don't know. This one's kind of a toss up, but I'm leaning towards Diego Lopez. I just think that he's gonna really showcase some boxing for people in this next fight. I know he has some really good ground game, but I think he really puts it together. Um, when it comes to standing up in this fight. I think he's going to sleep it. I think he's going to sleep Sadiq. I have a feeling, gut feeling. That's what I'm just going to go with. That's fine.
Jacob?
Yeah, definitely agree with Chuck here. I'm going Diego Lopez. I think he's been really fun to watch over his past couple fights. Like Chuck said, Sadiq hasn't been very active. I'm taking Diego. I know it's a close. He's what's that say? 162.
Yeah, minus 162.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll throw. I might throw him on my parlay, but I'm leaning probably I won't. Probably just enjoy the fight.
Right up. Next one, you got Kayla Harrison versus Holly Holm. Why does Kayla not even have a picture on the UFC site?
Because this is her damn debut.
But
this is what the people have been waiting for.
But they can't give her a picture?
Oh no, we don't want a picture. We love it how it is. Just leave her as just some locked character because that's what she might as well be. She is. Oh my gosh,
yeah, right
Martin.
There, debut,
when I say a tank of a person, Kayla Harrison. Oh my god, Google her right now. Throw her up on there. Google Kayla Harrison.
She is.
Look at the pythons on her.
She has like Ronda Rousey vibes, but like better Ronda Rousey vibes.
Oh, like imagine if Amanda Nunes was toned. This is who Kayla Harrison is.
Where did they get this one from?
Oh, they took her. They took her over from PFL. So she was fighting in the PFL, and she was doing really well. I mean, you can see why. Look at those muscles. She is going to put it on Holly Holmes. I mean, Holly Holmes has great boxing, but Holly Holmes is also up there in age.
I can't believe she's still fighting.
And yeah, most people don't really know why she's on this card. But yeah, Kayla Harrison's going to put it on her. And I think it's going to be ugly. I'm ready. I'm excited for her debut. This is if you ask Justin, he's hyped for her debut. Like, she is the real deal. I think if she makes a good run, she would be a reason why Amanda Nunes would come back. If any reason.
Oh, Chuck, you're putting a lot of expectations on someone making their debut.
I am putting a lot of expectations. I'm riding into the hype. I'm feeding into the hype.
Yeah, Chuck is not alone in this. I'm betting the fucking house on Kayla Harrison on this fight all day, every day. Let's be real. The reason they have Holly Holm on this is just because everyone knows the name Holly Holm because she slept Ronda in devastating fashion. And honestly, Chuck, tell me if you disagree with me here. I think we would have seen Kayla Harrison in the UFC earlier if Amanda Nunes didn't lose to Juliana Pena.
Because I definitely think we would have, because they would have probably set that fight up as soon as they could.
They had Kayla in the crowd that night when she lost, And she was
And they
pissed.
probably definitely would have promoted it. They would have definitely cut to her, or definitely would have cut to a call outer for sure. But then the other reason why we also didn't get her in here is because the PFL was paying her out the ass. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
they were doing what Dana isn't going to do, and that pay their fighters. So she was getting bread, and she was doing exactly what she wanted to do and dominating people. And she said, "All right, now I got my money. It's time to come over to the UFC."
Yeah. Yeah. Kayla Harrison, big bet the house. Bet the house on her. Yeah, it's going to be a fun fight.
Oh, I love it. Love it. But I don't even know where we're at now because I'm on 200. Because, wow. All right. What about this fight up here with Calvin and Sterling?
I'll let Jacob go first for this one.
Oh, dude, I don't know. This is going to be interesting because we have Aljo coming up to featherweight. He's moving up a weight class, so it's always I always feel very anytime someone moves up to a weight class. Is it going to be good? Is it going to go bad? I think we've seen it one too many times go both ways. It's basically a pick 'em. Calvin Cater's a favorite at 112 right now, and Aljo's at 108. Dude, like, I'm not betting on this fight. I'm staying away from this fight.
Yeah, this is definitely one you want to just steer clear of. I don't know.
I think Aljo takes him down and just works him on the ground.
That typical Aljo fashion is to just take him down, wear him like a backpack, and just go to work on the ground. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that though. So like Cater, I know he's 5'11" if you look at it, and has only a 1-inch reach advantage, which is crazy to think about, because Aljo is only 5'7". But the way that he can work in, but the grappling that Aljo has is amazing. He trains with Marab all the time. So I mean, if you haven't seen Marab fight, the way that Marab just made Triple C Henry Cejudo look in the last fight, and the way he's wrestling an Olympic gold medalist, the way that he just dominated him, and I just do not know. His grappling is just too good. I don't know.
Yeah. If I had to make a bet on this, I would put money on Aljo. Fuck it.
It would probably be a boring fight to most fans, but he's gonna get his win.
Yep.
And it's gonna be in a technical fashion.
Fair enough. Last one on the pre-card, prelims. What we have here, both coming off a loss.
Got Yuri Prohaska.
He's on a prelim. Like, this man just had the belt, and he didn't lose the belt because he lost the fight. He lost the belt because he got hurt. He's coming off that shoulder. I think it was a shoulder injury, and he was at the top of his game. He was a light heavyweight champion. Like, I'm really excited for this fight. I think this might just be kind of Rakic. Let me not sleep on Rakic because he's a great fighter. But I think they just want this to be a tune-up, see how Jiri's shoulder is, and see if Prochazka can actually fight still. Like, if he still has it in him with the grappling and his swinging and just his style that he has as a samurai.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm mind blown that Yuri is the underdog here.
I think it's injury related. I think they're taking that into account, and that's why they're throwing him under the bus. But I definitely think you shouldn't. I think this is like one of those situations like where you see Dustin at plus money, and you're like, you know what? He definitely has a chance.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely be taking. I'm probably going to put Yuri on my bet slip, but if not, I'm going to take. I'll take over 1.5 rounds on it. That'd be my guess.
All right. Bottom of the main card. 10 p.m. Nick Bo versus Cody. This is the biggest odd difference on the whole UFC 300 card minus 1350 to plus 800. Again, biggest odds difference on this card right now, according to Vegas. So is this going to be a first round knockout and we just get out of here?
I mean, his last one was a first round knockout. I mean, Bo Nickel is a scary dude. I mean, this man is, when you talk about like a corn fed, raised on wrestling, like just wrestled since he came out the womb. That is Bo Nickel. He's putting the boxing together. I mean, he got the last one and knockout in the first round. And I do think it's one where he walked through Cody Brundage. Like, I think he walked through him.
Yeah, this is an easy ad on the parlay.
An easy ad.
Easy ad.
I probably wouldn't add it only just because it's that minus 1350. When I get to those ones and you lose like a parlay just because some like say I always give everybody the puncher's chance. So say he gets lucky and slips something in. I just can't throw it in just because that minus 1350. And if that's the one leg, it doesn't make that much of a difference in the aspect of just.
But wouldn't you be able to pick a different bet instead of just putting the money line? Couldn't you just say knockout by first round? Or
see, that's the thing, though. I don't know if it'd be a knockout. It might just be he might choke him out. He might also like just purely dominate him for just the 3 rounds and just for each minute, just keep dominating the whole time. Because some people have chins. Like Cody Brundage could have a chin and like really just take all of Bo Nickel's hits and just get dominated. So like I would pretty much. The money line is the safest bet in this case, but it's just that it doesn't add as much to the parlay as you want.
I wonder what the odds would be for it just not going the distance. Bo Nickel wins not going the distance.
I think that probably would not. It wouldn't be that. I think it'd be high up there. I think it'd be maybe like minus 300, probably. I'm assuming. Now I'm curious. I'm gonna have to look it up while we're doing this.
Because that I feel would be also a safe bet.
I think that'd be a safer bet, yeah. Or you could do a money line 2-way, or so you would do the double chance method of victory. So you could do Bo Nickel by knockout or submission.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, let's move it up. Charles, Armin. This one's a little bit, the odds are significantly closer. Armin's the favorite, minus 205 to Charles, plus 170. What do we like in here? We're not just telling you who we're going to win. We're also trying to help you on getting a payday on the 13th.
How the fuck is Charles Oliveira this far down, or is this much of a underdog? I don't get it.
Plus 170.
Plus 170. I'm sorry. I think that is fucking insane.
Yeah, I think it's pretty wild to have him at plus 170. You have I'd say a legendary, a Hall of Famer for sure. Charles Oliveira is definitely going to the Hall of Fame. We can definitely book that. But you have him at plus 170, and he's still, I would say, in his prime. He's not done. So I don't know how you have him at plus 170. I mean, I know Arman is pretty good, and he's showcasing that he's the real deal. I think that this is also one of those situations like Dustin Poirier. You're like, oh, plus money. You take a shot. Definitely take a shot at that and throw that in the parlay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. This definitely has Dustin Poirier vibes to it, where you're like, I don't know how. Hey, don't get me wrong. I know Armin's fucking good, but like Charlie Olives, man. Hard to bet against Charlie Olives.
And like Charles Oliveira is such a well-rounded fighter between his grappling and his striking. I think that he will pose a threat. I think his striking is better than Armand. I think where they're giving Armand the edge is in the grappling, honestly. And I really don't think you should sleep on Charles Oliveira's grappling. I mean, the man has the most submission wins for a reason.
Yeah, I'm taking Charlie Olives. That's my underdog pick.
Two Bronx all the way.
What about this? What about this one then? Justin versus Max. These are two names who any UFC fan knows both these guys. They're going to be going at it on this as well.
The title. too.
Oh my gosh. They got Mark Coleman giving out the belt too. He's gonna be there.
Hell
After
yeah.
the whole situation and that man surviving, he's gonna still be out there right after. Like, props to Mark Coleman, UFC legend. Um, Great man. Happy that he's alive and well and he's doing good. But I don't know. This fight is. I think people have it as a toss up, and I really do not know. I really don't know what the odds makers are thinking when it's coming to this. I'm about to build my parlay right after this before they adjust the odds because Max Holloway at plus 195. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
The best fucking boxer in all of the fucking UFC. This man was coaching Calvin Kattar how to block his punches while he was fighting him. He's sitting there practicing, like he's sparring against him, showing him, like, hey, look, this is what you're supposed to do instead, and tagging him up and like beating the shit out of him. Do you know how like humbly, like, that's the most disrespectful ass whooping ever? Like, you're coaching your opponent while you're kicking their ass. Like, what the fuck?
That was Brian Ortega. He was coaching Brian Ortega.
Oh, yeah, it was Ortega. Ortega, who's also fighting for a belt.
Yeah, Kattar, he was still piecing up, but then talking to the commentary.
He had the most punches against Kattar. It was the most punches landed in a fight against Calvin. It was like 300 and something significant strike. But again, it just shows I don't know. That's crazy. Plus one.
You also have Max is moving up.
And I don't know if you saw the picture. Have you seen the pictures of him recently?
No.
He's looking beefed up at a lightweight now. He looks like he's jacked up a little bit.
What's Gaethje's odds on this?
Minus 238.
Yeah, and honestly, Gaethje. I mean, you can't count out Gaethje.
You can't, because I mean, he can take punches and he can swing.
Yeah,
we've seen it before with Dustin and other fighters. He's one of those people who can drag into his tank and he can sit there and just eat punches. That man has a chin. He's eating Dustin's punches and he's eating a lot of fighters' punches.
Yeah,
he's training with Kamara and all of them in that. Can't remember coach right now, but they're training in that gym together, and so he's been training with champions. So it's not like he's some scrub who, like, we've seen Justin fight before, and the man is honestly great in his own way. So I'm not trying to count out Justin Gaethje, but I just feel like it's so much disrespect to Max Holloway having him be a minus. I feel like it should be an even split at the odd. I think it honestly would be more better. If I saw an even split, I feel like that'd be more respectful.
Yeah, or at least a closer. I mean, I personally, I'm going to take Gaethje in my parlay on this one, but that's just me. I
always have the puncher's chance.
Yeah, I always feel weird about the fucking move up and weight class shit.
That makes sense. All right, now we're getting to some title matches. The women's strawweight title bout. If you just looking at the statistics, it's actually kind of crazy. Champs 24-3, Challenger 17-3. Both won their last fights. Both from China, 1 inch difference. The exact weight, the exact reach, and a 1 inch difference in leg reach. No odds yet. So
I think the odds will be definitely lenient in Zhang Weili.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say minus 300. Probably are going to be the opening odds.
Yeah.
Yan, she's no joke. Well, because I mean, you've seen
her. Yeah,
you've seen her pick up Shaq. I mean, you see the strength. Like, she dominates these other fighters because her strength is on a whole nother level as a fighter. I think when it comes to a lot of the female fights, it comes down to the strength. In a lot of the cases, like Amanda Nunes, strength like no other. Holly Holm, Ronda Rousey. When you get into some of those fighters, when you talk about them, they just had a lot more strength and a different type of edge than a lot of the other female fighters. And Zhang Weili definitely has that different edge compared to the other fighters.
Jacob?
Yeah, I'm taking Zhang all day. She's, man, for a 115-pound woman, she's petrifying.
I wouldn't fight her. I would never.
Straight out of the Chinese Communist Party. I ain't fucking with her. I ain't fucking with her.
Oh, jeez.
Might be knocking on her doorstep soon.
All right. You got the main event. Alex Pereira versus Hill. Number one contender. Hill is 12-1. Pereira 9-2. I mean, almost both 6'4", both 79-inch reach. A 0.5 different in leg reach. Like a 0.5 difference in weight. This is the champ. I know, Jacob, in the wrestling world, if you're the main event on this big pay-per-view, that means you're the one really supposed to carry this pay-per-view. Everyone's here to see you at the end of it. You're supposed to give them a show. Is Pereira going to give us a show on this Saturday?
Dude, Pereira always puts on a show. And then that being said, Jamal Hill always puts on a fucking show. I know it seemed like some people were disappointed this was going to be the main event.
Mm-hmm.
I love both these fighters. Alex Pereira is just, I know I keep saying it, motherfucker is scary. And Jamal Hill is also scary. Both are bad fucking dudes, man. What's the odds on this one right here?
Pereira's what we got? -155.
150. All right, yeah, but that makes sense. This is like what the Max and Jake Gaethje odds should be like.
Yeah, but this would be more fair.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. All right. So the bias in me, I really like Jamal Hill, and I want him to fucking win. But at the same time, I'm not fucking betting on this fight. There ain't no fucking way. Because honestly, anything can happen in this fight. I think.
I've seen it. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, you would think the clear-cut winner would be Pereira, but
yeah,
the way I've seen his defense over time, and like as I watch him more and more, he fights with his hands down way too much for my comfortability. And like some fighters are going to exploit that. And I know he can be crafty in getting out of getting hit, but sometimes there's people that just know how to get to you and get to that chin. And Jamal Hill is one of those people who can get to your chin. And this one's this is one of those ones where it's like it is a toss up. It could go either way. They both have sneaky good fucking uppercuts and just knockout power. I don't know who's gonna take this one. I'm biased towards Pereira just because the shit I've seen him do, but I'm also biased towards Jamal Hill because his story and the way he's just come up in the UFC and the way he's really had to prove that he deserves to be number one. Like, I don't know who I would pick. This might be like Jacob said. I'd stay away from this one.
Yeah,
or just like take the method for the fight to end and be knockout.
Yeah, but honestly, at the same time, I could very well easily see this go all 5 rounds.
Because Jamal Hill does have grappling, so I could see that happening for sure. Because Alex has been training with Glover, so I think the way that Jamal Hill fought against Glover and he was able to handle the grappling. So I definitely see if they don't stand up, they could actually go into grappling, which would not test their chin that much, and it would prolong it to the 5th round. But I still just think with that puncher's chance from them, and they start getting gassed into those later rounds, someone might feel it and someone might go down.
I mean, the easy thing you could say for Alex Pereira is he's been fighting. Jamal Hill, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is his first fight back.
Yeah, this is his first fight back since the injury.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. You got layovers. Whenever you start getting into layovers, it's just always, don't know. It's a toss-up.
But he's also been fighting with his brother and getting DVs, so, he has been active somewhat, in a way.
Sparring is always good. I mean, look what sparring does for Sean Strickland.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Boy. I was going to say, too, something you said earlier, Jacob, about people being sad that this is the main event. You're pumped because obviously you got your diehards, you follow the sport and all that. I think that was more from a casual perspective because I think the casuals wanted John Jones. They wanted Conor McGregor to make his return. Like, they wanted those type of things. But, like, You guys
Man's
who
not
are
even
educated and see the stuff, you're just like, it's your job to tell the casuals, like, oh no, this is a really good main event. Sure, they're not whatever, but no, this is gonna be a good main event. So
Yeah, I mean and something else I thought was crazy because I know the listeners can't see, but like we have the UFC 300 card off the website here.
mhm.
Even the Gaethje Max Holloway is for a title. It's for the BMF title, so finger quotes, but they don't even have that listed on the website as a title fight, which is nuts. So technically, you are getting 3 title fights
Back to back to back.
Yeah, you're getting 3 5-minute, 5-round, 5-minute matches to cap off that show, dude. How could you not love this shit? And then something else, man. You can look at the main event, Pereira versus Hill. You could look at this from. I know this is weird coming from the wrestling expert here, but you could look at this like a wrestling story. And dude, this is a beautiful story. Either way, this works out. Because when Jamal Hill won the title from Glover, Pereira's in Glover's corner, and you can see Pereira eyeing up Jamal Hill like, I could take this motherfucker. And then you look at it from Jamal Hill, I got injured, I never lost a title, I can win it back. And that dude essentially has the American dream story.
Mhm.
Like you said, his come up has been fucking nuts. It's been awesome.
Like when he won that belt and he started breaking down, it was you just felt it for him.
What was it? We said it last year. I think it wrestled on one of the cards. Man, this is like fucking. What the hell do we say, Martin? This is like a theater. Or this is
cinema.
Poetry. Yeah, it's cinema, dude. This motherfucking card is cinema. Cinema. Let's fucking go. This shit's hype.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I mean, I think it's going to be very exciting. Again, the 300th one, and when you think about how 200 was just 100 to go, and like, I think it's going to be great. I think there's going to be a lot of, especially those ticket prices, a lot of famous people are going to be there. You know, the camera's going to pan off to who decided to come to this fight and all that. I think they got to be on their A game, like you guys said earlier, for this to really succeed. Everyone needs to come in with their best foot forward because you're getting your biggest payday ever. So I'm excited.
Hopefully Dana pays these people. God damn it.
He better, because if he doesn't, he's not going to hear the end of it. And one more ad.
April 13th.
The people who are disappointed about it not being John Jones, you can't expect this man to come back from a torn. I don't know if anyone's ever torn like a muscle or anything, but a torn pec where it comes completely off the bone requires an incredible amount of rehab. And for the Conor McGregor stand, like, the man was on roids and wasn't even in the USADA testing pool. You should have known his ass wasn't coming back, because as soon as he tried to get into the pool, like, he was going to get popped for steroids. I know it's not USADA anymore, but that's exactly why he waited for them to disappear and come back.
Yeah.
Shoot. I mean, he's too busy having the Roadhouse movie with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, he's making his money. That's where he's at now, where he's content. I've come to accept the fact that Conor is content with where he's at in life. And
he said he's going to fight, Chuck.
He's going to fight. That's what he says. I don't know how much I believe him anymore. I think if he gets another money excursion, he's going to chase the money that pays out the most more than anything.
Personally, I think McGregor, I think he has 2 fights left on his contract from everything I've seen. I think he tries and bangs those out real quick. And then I think he's boxing.
That's where all the money is now. And
yeah,
I mean,
money. They got that Saudi blood money, man. And Ganu just made the bank.
Getting his ass whooped.
Yeah, getting knocked the fuck out by Anthony.
Yeah, but you know what? That motherfucker got paid to get knocked the fuck out.
Like, I would go step in the ring right now and fight Francis Ngannou if I was getting the payday that they were getting.
Right.
A couple years. Definitely need the medical bills.
No, I'll take it.
When you do those, I was like, Joshua really hit that boy with something like, oh man, that was uncomfortable.
If you watch the breakdown of it and you watch it in slow mo, it was just textbook boxing, and that's just something that Francis Ngannou doesn't have. He's still a UFC fighter at the end of the day, and he looks for that puncher's chance. I'm glad for him that he's getting his money, but he's going to keep embarrassing himself at boxing if he just relies on having a puncher's chance every time.
Hey, well, speaking of boxing too, just real quick on some of these quick things before we wrap up. Paul's fighting Mike Tyson. It's going to be on Netflix. First time ever. I mean,
yeah, Netflix.
I mean, so,
what type of promote? Like, the level of promotion to get that. The amount of money you're getting paid for that already.
Mm-hmm.
You have Netflix promoting it, but people who just raise their price like every single month. It feels like.
And it better not be something stupid like ESPN Plus a long time ago. They gypped all the fans. They lied. They're like, oh, if you get ESPN Plus, you get the UFC pay-per-views. But then when you click on you still have to pay for the pay-per-view. So if you have Netflix, you better not have to pay for this pay-per-view.
So far, everything that I've seen, heard, it's if you have a Netflix subscription, you get the fight.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, that's just how it is. And I'm good with it. Fuck it. It's free, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have to pirate this stream.
Yeah. I don't have to stream anything.
I mean, I was talking to someone too at work about it. I just think that Jake's gonna. I mean, he wins now. Like he's just wrestling. I mean, not wrestling. He's either fighting people who are like 12 or people who are 80.
I don't know. I'm not. I know this sounds stupid to say, but I can't count Mike Tyson now.
Mike Tyson is 28. He's 57.
I know it's a 57-year-old Mike Tyson, but damn it, I want him to fucking win. I need him to restore order. Somebody has to restore order, damn it.
Well, the people who will, Paul's not going to fight him.
Here's the deal. You want to talk about restore order and all that shit. Mike Tyson loves Jake Paul. He's came out and said it. The fucking Paul brothers have saved boxing because they've got more fucking eyes of the product than what boxing has done in the past 30 years. Or 20 years.
I just can't agree because the fact is, it's just bringing in, you get the YouTube people, you get the Twitch people. It's bringing in the people who want to do this for clout and do this for like money and promotional stuff and just get people to like buy in. Like, it's like a celebrity type of thing. It's a celebrity boxing organization. Like, remember on MTV they used to have, what was it, like Celebrity Deathmatch?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it essentially is. Except you just get people coming in here and fighting, and like it's just paying them out the ass, and they already have money. Like, I want to see the fighters who want to work up from the bottom. Like, I want to see people love a storyline. I don't want to see people who already have money just fighting.
Chuck, your thing is very valid because I mean, for the past 20 something, however many years, I mean, now it's boxing who's dealing with this. Wrestling fans have said the same thing for years, and they still continue to say that. Like, obviously, with like Logan, like he wrestled in high school and all that stuff, but you still have people saying Logan Paul just gets to walk in here while there's been people wrestling their ass. And this is the argument every day. There's wrestlers right now who have to be away from their families 300 days out of the 365 of the year, and they don't get to be on the main card, but Logan Paul can come in, not go anywhere, not slave away, and be on it.
It's I get what they bring in.
It's what they bring in. And I'm not just saying Logan, this has been for years. I mean, freaking Snooki was on a WrestleMania card, for crying out loud. Like, if we just go through and then you see the people who work the full-time thing, you're like, why the fuck am I even here? It's the age-old argument. I wish if we were talking this argument, this is where we need the captain, because we know he hates part-timers. And we know he hates celebrities taking spots from full-time talent anywhere. But that's just something we'll see. I do want to end on a funny thing. So, Jacob, I don't know if you've seen Ronda Rousey still says she said she's the greatest fighter who's ever lived. I know she's been going on this podcast. I don't know where this media tour has come from. It's not like I don't know where it's come from, but whatever. But she said she's the greatest fighter who ever lives, doesn't give credit to any of her losses, saying that she got concussed walking down the steps and that's what messed her up in the Holly Holm fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about that. It was a concussion, not the left roundhouse kick to the head.
I just think it's crazy. I mean, I think with like fighting too and role modeling, I was like, man, it's okay. Take accountability. You got your butt kicked. It happens.
Yeah, take your L. It's okay. Yeah. It's not. You lost. Congratulations. You put women's MMA on the map. I'll give you that. Mm-hmm. Congratulations. You are a pioneer and a forerunner of MMA. Congratulations. You took your loss, and then it became a giant crybaby session. Hard pass.
Yes.
Hard. I'm good.
No, you're right, Chuck.
I mean, he just summed it up for you right there. I mean, yeah, Ronda. The statement is very wild and inaccurate, and she needs to be tested just to make sure she's not on any type of drugs right now, because I think she is high out of her mind if she thinks that she is one of the best fighters of all time. I mean, I could go on a list of about 15 to 20 people right now who would definitely surpass her, and that's without even trying to think of anyone else. She's done a lot. Yes, when we start going to like Jacob, like she's a pioneer. She is done great things for the UFC and opening up a wide realm of things for people and fighting in the UFC and for female fighters. I think she's like superb in that way. But just as far as the greatest fighter of all time, is a wild statement. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, she didn't stop at female. She literally just said greatest fighter. Fighter, which okay. Speaking of fighters and mental health and all that stuff too, just on some lighthearted stuff, throwing in some boxing. I mean, Ryan Garcia. I mean, he's got a big fight coming, but he's. I know you put this on thing. He's his past. I don't know if he's doing this to stir up attention for the fight or whatever, because you know that's what people do. But he's talking crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Mental health wise, I don't know if it's from just the last loss to Gervonta Davis, or if it's just getting punched in the head too much. I mean, you know, there's a lot of different things that happen to people with traumatic brain injuries. Other stories I'm seeing is maybe he started smoking weed and then like having like these like schizophrenic episodes potentially. I don't know. I don't know what to read into too much because you don't know what's true and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that he needs to get some help, and whatever's going on. I don't know. He could not be lying. The conspiracy theorist in me. I believe in all these different crazy things with the top 5%, but I'm not going to go into that because who knows who's listening, and I'm not trying to get taken out. But we'll leave it at that. Anyway, Ryan Garcia, I hope everything is good. I know you're probably not listening to this. I don't know. Maybe you will. I hope so.
You never know.
I'm gonna say I hope so. But he needs to get it together. And I think sometimes when you go from an undefeated standpoint, being someone who's never lost to losing, that might do something to your psyche. And maybe that's also something else that contributed back.
Jacob, anything you want to add?
No, I don't know jack shit about Ryan Davis. So
Garcia.
I need some help.
Oh man, this has been fun seeing this collaboration, wrestling.
Definitely, without a doubt.
And
I love this shit.
And UFC. So definitely gonna try, and we won't wait too long this time. But definitely want to try and get this collaboration together again to do the UFC 300 review, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a whole lot of fireworks.
Oh, I hope so. I hope there's call outs. I hope there's people there fighting in the crowd. I hope it's chaos. I just want chaos.
Well, you already know who's going to get the biggest ovation there. It's going to be Donald Trump. It always is.
Oh yeah.
I'm a Kid Rock, maybe.
Maybe, man. Yeah.
Or Theo Vaughn. I don't know. It's a toss up between that's the UFC. Like if you have a UFC Mount Rushmore,
That's them.
of celebrity fans, it's gonna be Theo Von, Donald Trump, Kid Rock, and I don't know who the fourth would be. The fourth would be a toss up, kind of.
That's funny, man. We can't wait for 300 again. We're gonna try and get this collaboration again for the review. We won't wait a couple months. We'll try and get it a week or two after the pay-per-view. With that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Again, first time ever, UFC expert, WWE expert. We hope to have this again sometime soon. Take care. UFC 300, April 13th, 10 o'clock. Signing out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.